Welcome back. This is Michelle Genevieve Hurtado. Today is April the 24th, 2017, a day of remembrance for many Armenians, or in my case, partial Armenians. And today I want to talk a little bit about my grandmother, whose name, by the way, I neglected to mention my family's name. Last name is Mugerian, M-U-G-E-R-I-A-N. My grandmother's name was Mary Mugerian, although she didn't start out with that name. She started out, please excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. That's why I'm recording this around twilight time, because I've been coughing a lot. But back to the subject at hand. Today I want to record some memories of my grandmother. Both of them somewhat sad. I had the blessing, as did my siblings, of having my grandmother live with us for the first 13 years of my life. And then she moved back to Michigan. But she lived with us here in San Francisco. And some of my earliest memories, well, consistent memories, were of the nightmares. She would wake up screaming, crying. And I don't remember when, but at some point, the narrative of what happened to her, to the degree that as a child we could absorb it, was related to us by our mother, her daughter, Liberty. So that was sort of a consistent memory of mine. A female relative of mine saw The Promise, which is what compelled me to start making these videos. And her comment was, it was very beautiful, but very sad. I haven't seen it yet because I've had a cold. I'm hoping to see it in the next couple of days. But she saw it, as have a lot of friends and relatives. So thank you for all of you who have seen the movie. As I said, I'm a little bit late getting around to it because of my health. I didn't want to be coughing over all over everybody in the theater, but and that's very, very true. My grandmother was always on the run, always afraid that she was going to be killed. And I really got that sense from the nightmares as I recall them. The other memory that I have of her was from when I was a very little girl, maybe 3 or 4. And we used to have this large armchair. And she used to take me and hold me to her and start rocking back and forth and singing, or rather keening, in a exotic language. I assume it was either Armenian or Turkish. Since I have a propensity to sing, and according to my mother, was singing before I could speak, I would naturally, as I recall, kind of keen along with her. But at a certain point, she would start crying. And I would cry with her. And I saw her doing this I remember her doing this not just with me, but with my siblings. I'm the oldest of 4 children. 2 of them have passed, so it was myself and my youngest sister. And she used to do this with all of us, and she would always end up crying. So this is a very strong memory. My father's family were musicians, so whatever musical talent I got in terms of the ability to sing, I got from him. But I really do truly feel that spark, that need to express yourself through song, came from my grandmother. And she gave me her sadness and her heart. And in a strange way, in an indirect way, I feel all the grief and sadness, excuse me, from what she went through. And still to this day. I'm going to be 65 in a couple of weeks, excuse me. And so these memories are still strong with me. My grandmother also was very, had a sort of natural, what the French call joie de vivre, a natural propensity for joy, which I feel I also inherited from her. An ability to, no matter what's happening, no matter what slings and arrows are coming at you, it's the ability to see the little bit of joy or the shards of light that are around you. You have to have a willingness to see it. I've had my challenges in my life, maybe more than some, less than others. But when I think of my life compared to my grandmother's, my life has been a cakewalk. No doubt about it. I'd like to hear if anybody who's Armenian or partial Armenian, I'd like to hear back from you, even if you're not. The other thing I'd like to express that I'm feeling slightly angry about, in a way I never have, ever since the announcement of the movie was out there. It's a kind of strange anger. An anger that I didn't want to speak to, but now I've sort of figured out that it's sort of an anger for the fact that no one knows what happened, that the Turkish government and its proxies, and I emphasize the Turkish government as opposed to Turkish people. You might recall that I attribute my grandmother's salvation, so to speak, to a kind, courageous Turkish family who hid her and harbored her during that time. So she had a place of refuge. And so I have no problem with the Turkish people at all. Government, they need to come clean with this. It is a stain on the Turkish government, on the Turkish people, and it's an open wound for the Armenian people. Again, thank you for hearing me out and for indulging me. Again, as I said before, if you haven't seen The Promise, which is the movie about the Armenian genocide, I encourage you to see it and encourage all your friends, families, neighbors, colleagues to see it. Bless you, and thank you for indulging me again.